Hey gorgeous, it's Ker-leen. Thank you for tuning back into my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing a fragrance haul. So these are all of the Arabian Middle Eastern fragrances I've hauled over the past month and a half or so. If you're interested in seeing what they are and hearing my thoughts on them, then please keep watching. Hey friend, thank you for tuning back for another video. Fragrances have been making me super joyful as of late. And I know if you're tuned in that you feel the exact same way, so thank you for being here. To those of you who are new on this channel, I make videos on lifestyle, luxury, I do review videos to include fragrance talk, and I also sprinkle in a little bit of my motherhood journey, my personal life, in my monthly vlogs. So if any of those things interest you, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I think you will love it here and I would love to have you here. And also be sure to turn on that notification bell so you know exactly when my videos drop. All right, let's get into it. The first fragrance I have here is LFA Al Sublim, and this is a fragrance, y'all, that is going to be in heavy rotation this spring and summer for me. The climate where I live is very warm and humid, and in the summertime it's scorching and we still have that heavy humidity hitting us. And so these are the types of fragrances that I love during the summertime. As I've mentioned previously, this will be in heavy rotation alongside Parfum de Marly's Valaya, because I also have that one in my collection and that's a go-to for the summer. This is such a quality fragrance. It is fresh, fruity, juicy, a little aquatic. It is just everything. Summer in a bottle, in my opinion. So recently I went back to Sephora and I put my nose on Kyalie's Eden Juicy Apple once again just to do another comparison. And y'all, this fragrance is its own thing. While it does have a lot of similarities with Eden Juicy Apple, I feel like this one is an elevated version of that fragrance. This one has more prominent florals, it's more substantial, it's a little less playful than Eden Juicy Apple, and that's why I feel like this one stands on its own. So this is just a gorgeous fragrance and I cannot wait to wear this. This is one that I did not expect it to be that good. Like, this is a high quality fragrance. If you put this fragrance in any other bottle and slapped any other brand name on the bottle, people would pay over $100 for it easily. That's how good this is. So yeah, this is one of the newest ones to my collection, and I have hauled a lot of Arabian fragrances in the past month and a half, and while many of them are not going to stay, this is one that's going to stay for sure. So the next fragrance is Paris Corner's Rifakat. I think that's how you pronounce that. This is a dupe of YSL's Baby Cat, as you all have heard already, I'm sure. And while I have never smelled Baby Cat, I do not own it, never smelled it. This fragrance took me by surprise and is one of those fragrances that is luxury, okay? Luxury at an affordable price. If you do not have this fragrance, what are you waiting for? Like, you need this in your collection. It's such an affordable fragrance and so high quality, and I can tell it's only going to get better with time. And this is coming from someone who, this is not my scent profile. This is not my preferred profile. It opens up with a pink pepper, but also a black pepper. And black pepper is not a note that I enjoy. I do enjoy saffron and olabanum, which are the mid notes in this one. The base notes are cedarwood and vanilla. So all of those notes I enjoy. Elemi is another one of the top notes. It's a new note to me. This is not something I would typically go for, especially not at a high price tag, because to me, this kind of puts me in the mind of a study. Someone's study in a castle or a library in a castle or in a mansion. This is what I imagine it would smell like, except this has added vanilla and it's like a sweet smelling study. So you get the smell of like furniture and books, old books, and also you get a sweetness. That's what this puts me in the mind of. People who describe YSL's Baby Cat describe this animalic quality to it, and I don't really get that in this fragrance. Instead, what I get from this fragrance is a study or a library in a very resplendent and well-appointed and very grand estate, like a mansion or castle. That is what I get from this fragrance. This smells so expensive, but in the old money, well-to-do, wealthy type of a way. I don't really get anything animalic in here per se, but yes, oh, this is so good. And the vanilla in here has gotten better and better and better the longer I've had it. So I can tell this is going to be a mind-blowing fragrance in like another year, like next year this time. So if you don't have this, even if you don't typically go for these scents, please do yourself a favor and get this. I will link it down below for you. You need this. You need this. It smells too expensive for everyone not to have this in their collection. You can even layer this with other fragrances and give it more sweetness or more fruitiness because this is just so good. The only con with this fragrance is the lasting power, in my experience, is not the greatest. I do feel like maybe I'm going nose blind to it because I feel like after about 3 hours, I have to top up with this because I'm just not getting that same oomph that I get when I first spray this. So that could be a con as well. I'm actually going to purchase a backup bottle as soon as they come back in stock, and hopefully by the time I put this video up, they are back in stock because y'all, you need this. The next fragrance is Swiss Arabian's Shagaf Oud Tonka. This is a fragrance that I wasn't sure about because I wasn't sure that I wanted a fragrance that was heavily centered around Tonka. However, the Tonka in here is gorgeous. To my nose, when I first sprayed this, I was getting like a sugared almond, and then over time, as this has gotten a little bit more mature, I feel like I'm getting like a cherry nuance in the opening when I first spray this. So it's like a sugared almond with a cherry nuance, and then this develops into an even sweeter, creamier Tonka fragrance, except this Tonka is sugared as well. So sprinkled with white sugar, refined sugar. Just imagine that. That is what this smells like to me. And so this fragrance is both creamy but fresh at the same time. Like, I don't even know how they do that, but I typically have been reaching for this when I go to work out, and I love it. I love it because it's sweet, it's creamy. So, you know, if you love sweet fragrances, you will love this, but this is a fresh creaminess, a very light, uplifting fragrance. This is also a really nice fragrance for layering because it's very simplistic in nature. So you can layer this with vanillas, you can layer it with fruits. I've layered this with Cassili by Parfum de Marly, which I've talked about in a previous video where I did some layering combos for you all, so I will link that video here. But yeah, this is beautiful for layering, and just on its own is absolutely fantastic. So you probably will notice a trend in this video, and that is that these are fragrances that smell expensive. They smell like $100, over $100 bottles of perfume, and that is typically what I go for. I don't really care for the Arabian scents that are fleeting or smell like body sprays. I'm trying to keep my collection to a minimum. This is a fragrance that is going to stay in my collection because it's a high quality fragrance, and that's what I look for when I purchase Arabian fragrances. So if that's what you're looking for as well, then if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, because when I do talk about these fragrances, I'm only going to be bringing to you all fragrances that are high quality and that smell expensive. So this is one that is absolutely beautiful, very stunning fragrance. The next fragrance is another Paris Corner fragrance, and y'all, I have been obsessed with Paris Corner. I feel like they release really high quality scents that do not need maceration before you can enjoy them. They're just so beautiful. They do a lot of one-to-one dupes, but they also do fragrances that are just inspirations, and I love, love, love the brand. Now this is a fragrance that I feel like is an inspiration, and this is Ker Pistachio or Ker Pistachio. So this fragrance has been likened to Kayali's Yum Pistachio Gelato, and I do feel like there are similarities between the fragrances, but I do feel like this is a little bit different. To me, to my nose, and I went back to Sephora a few days ago and I smelled Yum Pistachio Gelato again. And to my nose, Ker Pistachio is more pistachio. So this fragrance has more of a pistachio nuance than Kayali's version. I feel like Yum Pistachio Gelato is much more marshmallowy, much sweeter, much more candy-like, whereas this one is much more pistachio. This is also a little bit fresher. I do not feel like this is as sweet as Yum Pistachio Gelato. I feel like the sweetness is toned down in this one just a little bit. This is a little bit fresh. So it has like a slight soapy nuance, not soapy like throughout the entire wear. It's just slightly soapy in the very opening. And then it stays fresh, but it also is very nutty, much more pistachio in my opinion. So, and I don't know, this fragrance, there's something about this fragrance that is nostalgic. This gives me like 90s vibes. This particular one, not Yum Pistachio Gelato, but this one kind of gives me like 90s vibes. I don't know why. I feel like this is something that I would have smelled on like my mother and the adults in my life when I was a child. And this is just so, so beautiful. I love this fragrance. Yeah, so this one is much more nutty. It's slightly less sweet than Yum Pistachio Gelato. It's a tiny bit soapy right in the opening. It stays fresh, very light. The only con to this one is I do not feel like it's long lasting. I feel like you will have to top up after 3 hours, 4 hours or so. But for the price, I really don't mind. This is something, again, I'm going to be reaching for in the spring and summer, probably more in the springtime. I feel like this is one that might get better with time. So we will see. And I will definitely be back to report how this is doing, how it's maturing, and how I feel about it. So stay tuned for that. So this next fragrance is another Paris Corner fragrance. This one is a 1-to-1 dupe of Kyalie's Vanilla Royale Sugar Patchouli 64. And this is December Vanilla. This is another recommendation from my girl Kiki here on YouTube. Her channel name is My Fragrance Trail, and she has the best reviews for fragrances. And she suggested I try this one, and y'all, I'm so happy that I have this. So back when Vanilla Royale Sugar Patchouli 64 came out, I purchased it, and while I really wanted to love the fragrance because the notes were so intriguing to me, I loved the idea of like a vanillic rum spiked creme brulee with like a sugared patchouli and a slight oud. It was just too intense for me, which is a good thing. So for those of you who love your Beast Mode fragrances, stick with that one. Stick with the Kyalie version. This one, on the other hand, is like a sister of Vanilla Royale. December Vanilla is a lot less intense, and so it makes the fragrance more enjoyable, but the notes are very similar. I think it's almost the same exact notes. So you have like a rum opening, you have vanilla orchid, you have jasmine, then at the mid you have that creme brulee, that vanilla. There is some leather in here, there's tonka, then at the base you have the main notes of patchouli, sugar, and then you have oud. So this fragrance opens up with like a spiked essence, like a spiked vanilla, then it starts getting creamy and rich and fluffy and sweet with that creme brulee, but it also maintains like this sense of maturity because it does have that leather note. But the leather in here is not rough around the edges. It's a very smooth, silky, light leather texture in this fragrance. So yeah, this fragrance is a very beautiful, complex, yet wearable scent. For those of you who are vanilla lovers, those of you who love your gourmands, this is going to be it for you. I love this fragrance. This is one of those fragrances that you wear when you're headed out. You're going out at night, you're going to a fine dining establishment, maybe going on a date. This is when you pull December Vanilla out. And December Vanilla is so complex, equally as beautiful as Kyalie's Vanilla Royale Sugar Patchouli, except that this one is more wearable and it's not going to choke anyone out, even if you have oversprayed. So I love this fragrance. It's very good, and I'm happy to have this one in my collection. All right, friend, thank you so much for still being here. If you are, then go ahead and hit that like button on your way out. And also, if you have any of these fragrances, let me know which ones you have and how you feel about it. Also, if you plan on picking up any of these, let me know in the comments. And if you simply don't really have anything to say but just want to let me know you're here, then please go ahead and leave an emoji in the comments so that I know you stopped by. I make fragrance content on this channel quite often, so if fragrance brings you joy as it does me, then I would love to have you here. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, join the family, and turn on your notifications so you never miss another video. Before you click off the video today, I want to pose a question to you. Are you playing a part in holding yourself back from the things that you desire? Are you entertaining negative self-talk? Are you entertaining doubts about your abilities? Are you looking around and comparing yourself to others, doing more comparing than actually looking at yourself and your strengths? The reason why I ask that is because we can be, each of us, a part of what's stopping us from reaching our goals. And what I mean by that is, for example, I am a perfectionist. I am a huge overthinker. I overanalyze every single detail. And a lot of times that can be an obstacle for me to actually completing something. And ultimately it can be an obstacle to my success. And over the years, I have learned, and I'm still learning, that I just have to apply myself. I have to put in the work that's required. And then after I've done my part, I just have to pray over it and let God do the rest and not overanalyze every single detail. For me as well, I also have to make sure I maintain somewhat of a laser focus. So not so overly concerned with peripheral things that are going on around me, things that other people are doing, but just really lasering in on what it is that I feel I'm being called to do, that I feel God's gifted me to be able to do. And in doing those things, I'm becoming less of an obstacle to reaching my goals and more of a vessel for whatever it is that God wants me to do, and just not getting in my own way. So that's what I wanted to remind you all of, is that sometimes we can get in our own way. So are you getting in your own way today? And if so, in what ways? And think about how you can get out of your own way. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye.